Hello, children. Good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome to this Films Education Society Academy program, English. And this is fourth class, if you remember. And this poem, actually, I have displayed on the slide, is a memory poem. It's already done. Now you have to read and memorize. So you must be free. The free time can be utilized in memorizing this poem and be able to write line by line with the punctuation mark, with the capitals, small letters, etc. For just to practice writing. I'll just read the poem just once. I'm not going to explain the lines because the lines have already been explained. A woman is the beauty innate, a symbol of power and strength. She puts her life at stake. She is real. She is not fake. The summer of life she is ready to see in spring. She says, spring will come again, my dear. Let me care for the ones who are near. She is the woman. She has no fear. She is the woman. She has no fear. Strong is she in her faith and beliefs. Persistence is the key to everything. Persistence is the key to everything. Just mark the line. Persistence is the key to everything. That can be taken as a quotation, quotable quotes. Persistence is the key to everything. If you are flexible, then that persistence will not be there. Persistence, that is determination, strong-mindedness. Persistence is the key to everything, says she. Despite the sighs and groans and moans, she is strong in her faith, firm in her belief. She is a lioness. Don't mess with her. Don't play with her. Don't have any prank with her. She'll not spare you if you are a prankster. Don't ever try to saw her pride or self-respect. She knows how to saw you, so beware. She knows how to be soft with you, how to penalize you, how to saw you. So beware, be careful. She is today's woman. Today is woman, dear. She is today's woman. She is today's woman, modern woman. Today is woman. Today is totally occupied by woman, dear. She has gained importance today. She is today's woman. Today's woman. Today is woman, dear. Love her, respect her, keep her near. The author, Rocky Narayan Shirk. That explanation I already read for you, therefore I need not read it. I have just read the poem, just a kind of revision. We'll go to the next lesson. Now I have some exercise in Tempest. This exercise actually can be found in your page, in your book, on page number 26 and 27. And fill up the blanks with multiple choices there. Choose the correct answer. Who was the chief of all spirits? Who was the chief of all spirits? Is it Sycorax, Caliban, Ariel, Prospero? These are all the characters coming in the Tempest. Who was the chief of all spirits? I think most of you might have identified as Ariel. Ariel was the chief of all spirits, not Sycorax, not Caliban. Sycorax and Caliban, mother and son, Sycorax and Caliban, and then Prospero is the chief Duke of Milan. Now, second item, who raised a dreadful storm? Who raised a fearful storm? Is it Ariel, Prospero, Miranda, Sycorax? Ariel, the servant of Prospero. Prospero is the master of magic, and he was capable of doing this. It's a major task. So Prospero raised a dreadful storm, not Miranda or Sycorax. Number 3, Miranda was brought to the island so many years ago. How many years ago? was Miranda brought to the island? Is it 14 or 10 or 12 or 5? Now, when Miranda and Prospero were put on the island, they reached the island. She was a 3-year baby, you can recollect, I think. She was 3 years old. Now, 12 years passed and she is 15 years now. Therefore, Miranda was brought to the island. The answer is C, that is 12 years ago. Number 4, Prospero ordered Ariel to bring whom to his place? Prospero ordered Ariel to bring, because on the ship was wrecked actually by the magic of Prospero, and Ferdinand was the first person who just leaped into the sea. And then Antonio is there, Gonzalo is there, and then King of Naples is there. And the plan of Prospero is to separate these people, okay, who travel in the ship, who sail in the ship to different parts of the island. And Prospero's special instruction is to Ariel is to bring whom to his place. Prospero is very particular about, is it Gonzalo, who provided all provisions in the ship, in the boat, or Ferdinand, son of King of Naples, or King of Naples, who was the friend of Antonio, who helped Antonio to dethrone Prospero. Okay, King of Naples, a bad man, and then Antonio, the brother of Prospero, the chief villain in the drama. So Prospero ordered Ariel to bring whom to his place? Ferdinand. Okay, Ferdinand was to reach the island. That was, Ariel was to bring Ferdinand to his island, so that he wanted to arrange a meeting between Ferdinand and Miranda. Okay, and then number 5, who had provided Prospero with the books and provisions? Who had provided Prospero with books and provisions? Because books, he loved books on magic, and provisions, survival. Provisions for survival, books is inseparable from Prospero. Prospero loved the books on magic. Because of his special fascination for books, he lost his kingdom itself, as you all remember. Is it Antonio provided Prospero with books and provisions, or Ferdinand, or Gonzalo, or King of Naples? Naturally, Gonzalo is the courtier who had special regard and reverence for Prospero. For Gonzalo had provided Prospero with books and provisions. So kind of, it's not only filling up the blank spaces, you can just recollect the story, and kindly go through the book, go through that the Tempest by rewritten by, retold by Mary, Johnson. I don't remember right now. I'll tell you in the course of this lesson. Mary Lamb, Charles Mary Lamb, and now 6. The second human being that Miranda saw on the island was, second human being that Miranda saw on the island. See, first human being happened to be her father. Her father with a gray beard and very old age and tired and aged person, decrepit old age. The second human being that Miranda saw, the other people like Sycorax or Caliban or Ariel, not human beings. So the second human being that Miranda saw on the island was not Ariel, not Prospero, Ferdinand. It is Ferdinand was the second person whom Miranda saw on the island. Okay, and it's not Gonzalo. Gonzalo later on joined the group. And then this is the who is who. This also, this exercise you can find on page number 26 and 27. Here we have 10 items. He imprisoned the spirits in the bodies of large trees. He imprisoned, arrested, okay, captured the spirits in the bodies of large trees. It is a wicked deed that was done by Sycorax, witch. And second one, he was the chief of all spirits. It is repetition. The previous exercise also, you could have just seen that. He was the chief of all spirits, that is Ariel. Number 3, it seems to me like the recollection of a dream. It seems to me like the recollection of these 10 lines are original lines taken from Charles Mary Lamb narration. Therefore, only when you have touch or contact with the text, you can identify who is the narrator, who is the teller of these things. Or if you are very, very familiar and close with the text story, then you can identify easily. It seems to me like the recollection of my dream. Father, that means I have just given you a clue. Father, dear father, it seems to me like the recollection of a dream. That is Prospero's. It's a conversation between Prospero and Miranda, and Miranda says to Prospero, it seems to me like the recollection of a dream. Just Prospero wants his daughter to remember the past, and she is not able to recollect, just like a dream. It's not very clear to her. Number 4, I was Duke of Milan, self-explanatory. The rest of the sentence is unnecessary for you. I was Duke of Milan. Who was Duke of Milan? Prospero. And you were a princess, and you is Miranda, were a princess, both. That is Prospero and Miranda. And then 5, what a trouble must I have been to you then, my dear father. That is the clue there. What a trouble must I have been to you then. I was actually a 3-year-old baby, and you had to support me. You had to carry me as a baby, and you were thrown in a boat without any provisions, any support, and I must have been an added trouble to you. How much I troubled you, my dear father. What a trouble must I have been to you then. That is Miranda's words to hear to her father. Number 6, now pray tell me, sir, your reason for raising the storm. Sir, it is unusual addressing of father. Now pray tell me your reason for raising the storm. I think it is understood. Who is raising the storm? Prospero is raising the storm. And who is standing by his side? His own daughter, Miranda. Miranda, as a 15-year-old girl, is not able to tolerate the sight of the wreckage, ship and people suffering. Therefore, she is asking, no, now pray tell me, sir, so your reason for raising the storm. Number 7, I will soon move you. That is, funny, it's a comic rather, it's a comedy rather, between Ariel and Ferdinand. Ariel says, I will soon move you. Okay. And then number 8, I will tie your neck and feet together. I will tie your neck and feet together. It's a kind of punishment, a harsh treatment, and it's only fake rather, it is not real, just a kind of pretension. I will tie your neck and feet together as a kind of punishment. To he wants to just test the steadfastness, the strength of Ferdinand's love for Miranda, and also he wants to just test his nature. That is why I will tie your neck and feet together. That is Prospero says to Ferdinand. Number 9, I must finish my task before I take my rest. I must finish my task before I take rest. That is 9. Who says that? That is Ferdinand. Ferdinand is actually tries to first resist Prospero, but when it with this magic Prospero outwits Ferdinand. It's not possible for Prospero to, for Ferdinand. Therefore, Prospero, Ferdinand yields to him. I must finish my task. He's given a task like arranging the logs and bringing the logs like that. I must finish my task before I take rest. Yet, actually, he is very, he wants to obey his orders. Therefore, he decides, I must finish. Ferdinand says, I must finish my task. The task is just arranging. He's just given a task by Prospero before I take rest. And Miranda has got a soft corner, immediately created a soft corner towards Ferdinand. And he says, actually, you are very tired and you must be very tired. You just take rest and then you can do this work and all. But he is very particular about that work, and he says, no, I won't take rest. I must finish my task before I take rest. So this is a conversation between Ferdinand and Miranda. I refers to, yes, Ferdinand, yes. Then he repented and implored his brother's forgiveness. Forgiveness is another theme of the Tempest. The other day we discussed so many themes in the Tempest, like forgiveness, like love, and usurping the throne, that is cheating, and all. So many things. Like that, forgiveness is represented by whom in this Tempest, in this drama? He repented, felt sorry for his mistake. That is repentance. Noun form, repent, repented. He repented and implored, pleaded, requested, implored his brother's forgiveness. Who is the brother here? Who is this his? He repented. Now, this Antonio and King of Naples, both of them actually dethroned, that is Prospero. Okay, therefore now they feel it's a mistake to throw the rightful Duke of Milan, that is Prospero, and his 3-year-old baby in a boat without any kind of provisions, any kind of materials. That is a mistake. Now they understand. And it's Antonio and King of Naples. With the help of King of Naples, only Antonio did this. And he says he repented now. He repented and implored his brother's forgiveness. This is King of, Antonio. Antonio repented and implored his brother's forgiveness, Prospero's forgiveness. Okay? And it is actually sanctioned. The forgiveness is immediately granted. That is, this is Who is Who, page number 26 and 27 in your book. This is jumbled sentences. The theme of the Tempest. Some 10 sentences, key sentences have been created. This once again, this is an exercise, page number 27 in your book. Some 10 sentences are there. He ordered Ariel to torment the inmates, all jumbled. Okay, jumbled. Which event? These 10 sentences represent 10 events. Which event occurs first? Which event next? Which event fourth? Which event next? Like that. You have to identify. For first, you have to read all the 10 sentences carefully. He ordered Ariel to torment the inmates of the ship. Miranda was attracted by Ferdinand and had more concern towards him. Ferdinand. First sentence, he ordered Ariel to torment the inmates of the ship. That is, he is Prospero. Prospero ordered Ariel to torment, to disturb the inmates of the ship. Number 3, Prospero and Miranda came to an island and lived in a cave. That is, because of Antonio, they were forced to reach and occupy an uninhabited island. That is about 12 years ago. And number 4, Prospero forgave his brother Antonio and the fellow who helped Antonio, that is King of Naples, and got back his dukedom. Once again, he became the Duke of Milan. And then number 5, he raised a violent storm in the sea to wreck the ship of his enemies. He, as you know, it is Prospero raised a violent storm in the sea to wreck the ship of his enemies. Number 6, Prospero wanted to test Ferdinand and gave a severe task to perform. Prospero wanted to test Ferdinand and gave a severe task. The task, actually, we talked about the severe task. I must fulfill this task before I take rest. You can just recall the statement made by Ferdinand to Miranda. Prospero wanted to test Ferdinand and gave a severe task to perform. Number 7, using his powers, Prospero released the good spirits from large bodies of the sea. Immediately after reaching the island, he saw some good bodies, some good spirits had been arrested by Psychorex. He identified the nature of good spirits and he released them. So using his powers, Prospero released the good spirits from large bodies of it. This happened 12 years ago as soon as he just reached the island. Number 8, the king of Naples and Antonio, the false brother, repented the injustice done to Prospero by them. The king of Naples and Antonio, the false brother. Antonio, the false brother, repented the injustice, okay, wrong done to Prospero by them. That is last scene. Number 9, Ariel was instructed to bring Ferdinand to his cave. Okay, happens somewhere in the middle. Number 10, Ferdinand was the second human being whom Miranda had seen after her father. Okay, now which comes first? Which comes next? Which comes like that? Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, shall I just give you the answer? I'll give you the answer. Just note down the numbers. Not necessary, just to check. You note down the numbers. I'll give you 10 numbers and you note down, and that will help you. And you need not refer to it without referring to that number I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you. You yourself try to, rearrange the jumbled sentence in the order. Okay. Note down the number 375. 375 1 9 10 2 6 8 4. I will repeat 375 1 9 10 2 6 8 4. Okay, we'll just go on to the next slide. This is one exercise I wanted to do actually. We were dealing with the relative class. I think you remember what a relative class is. Relative class is adjectival class. 2 sessions back, we dealt with subordinate classes. One of the 3 subordinate classes is relative class, and this is related to relative class. A person who makes beer, a person who steals things, a person who writes about plays and films. In this, who makes beer, who steals things, who writes about plays and films, who goes to the theater regularly, who doesn't believe in God, who never drinks alcoholic liquor, who writes plays, who is skilled in foreign languages. These are all relative classes. Okay, it's a training, it's a practice for you. A person who makes beer is, who is that? A person who steals things, a person who writes about plays and films. Okay, you got teetotaler, theater goer, linguist, brewer, playwright, thief, reviewer, atheist. Maybe teetotaler, that's the only word that may pose some problem. Other things are already known to you, I think. Okay. Anyway, I'll just give you the quick answers. A person who makes beer, brewer. A person who steals things, a thief. A person who writes about plays and films, who writes about plays and films, reviewer. That is called a review. It's a kind of review. A person who goes to the theater regularly, theater goer. A person who doesn't believe God, that is atheist. A person who never drinks alcoholic liquor, teetotaler. A person who writes plays, that is playwright. Okay, a person who is skilled in foreign languages, a linguist. Another term also for linguist, that is polyglot. Polyglot, polyglot. Thank you. Next slide. This is passive voice, an exercise found in your book on page number 16. Okay, this is a good exercise. First, you have to, in the paragraph, you have to identify. The instruction is rewrite the following passage in passive voice. Rewrite the following passage in passive voice. That means the given passage should be in active voice. Okay, Active voice, passive voice means the chief concern is verbs. First of all, in the passage, you have to identify the verbs. Number one. Number two, whether the verbs for transformation are transitive or intransitive. Only transitive verbs can be put in passive form, I told you. So intransitive verb means you can ignore. Now identify the verbs. Already for your sake, the verbs have already been identified, okay, the color. A few days ago, someone stole Ambrose's motorbike. Ambrose had left it outside his house. He reported the theft to the police. The police told him that they would try to find his motorbike. This morning, they found his motorbike. The police called Ambrose to the police station. The thieves had painted it and sold it to someone else. The new owner had parked the motorbike outside a mall when the police found it. After an inquiry, the police arrested the thieves. Luckily, all the verbs used in the passage are transitive verbs. Therefore, all transitive verbs can be transformed into passive form. Okay. First sentence, sentence by sentence I have given. A few days ago, someone stole Ambrose's motorbike. Okay. So the verb is stole, that is changed into passive form. A few days ago, Ambrose's motorbike was stolen by someone not necessary. Okay. Ambrose's motorbike was stolen because we don't know the doer or the agent or the actor. Therefore, ignore. Second sentence, Ambrose had left it outside his house. Ambrose subject, object is it. Therefore, it had left has changed to had been left outside his house by Ambrose. He reported the theft to the police. He reported the theft, SVO. The theft was reported to the police by him. By him, it is there. And then the police told him that they would try to find his motorbike. The police told him, okay, the police told him, he was told, him pronoun is changed to he, personal pronoun. Him is accusative case. He was told by the police that it would be tried to, would try will be changed to it would be tried to find his motorbike. Okay, main sentence, main clause, the police told him that they would try to find his motorbike. That is subordinate clause. That is subordinate clause means that is a nominal clause. The police told him something. What is that something? That they would try to find his motorbike. Therefore, that is a noun, therefore nominal clause. The nominal clause also there is a finite verb, and the finite verb is would try. Okay, what would be tried? To find his motorbike. Therefore, it would be tried to find his motorbike. Next sentence. This morning, they found his motorbike. This morning, his motorbike was found by them. Okay, found. Last sentence, the police called Ambrose to the police station. The police subject called the verb, Ambrose object. Therefore, Ambrose becomes a subject. Ambrose was called by the police to the police station. That is adverbial phrase, to the police station. This is once again found on exercise 6, page number 16. The thieves had painted it and sold it to someone else. The thieves had painted it and sold it to someone else. It had been painted and sold by the thieves to someone else. In this, you note, had been painted and sold. That is, sold is another past participle, and it is the part of had been. That is, it had been painted and it had been sold by the thieves to someone else. In this place, once again, this had been painted, had been need not be repeated before sold. Therefore, it had been painted and sold, okay, by the thieves to someone else. The new owner had parked the motorbike outside a mall when the police found it. Okay, the motorbike had been parked outside a mall by the new owner when it was found by the police. Found has become it was found by the police. Last sentence. After an enquiry, the police arrested the thieves. After an enquiry doesn't require any change. The police arrested the thieves. That is the main part. SVO. The thieves were arrested by the police. And next, now we have got one poem. This is the second unit, the Grumble family. This is the very title itself. Now it's quite interesting. The Grumble family. Okay. Usually, grumble means who will grumble? Persons will grumble. Here, family is grumbling. The Grumble family. That is the title of the poem, written by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Okay. This is also a very good, very nice poem for night. It's got a very good message for our life. You can just meet some persons always grumbling, always growling, always finding fault with the people. This is not right. That is not right. You are wrong. I don't agree with you. I can't accept what you say. This place is ugly. That place is dirty. This situation is I don't like. This dish I don't like. I hate to talk to like that. This kind of personalities are there in life actually. It will be a kind of curse if you happen to meet such people. What will happen if you are surrounded by these people? What will be the situation? Okay, so very trying situation, and this poem brings out that theme. Well, nice poem. Just read. I'll just read. Follow me. There's a family nobody likes to meet. They live, it is said, on complaining street. The city of never or satisfied. Never or satisfied is a compound noun. It is a created one. Don't go to the dictionary to find out the meaning of never or satisfied. It's a coined composed compound noun. Never or satisfied. The river of discontent beside. They growl at that and they growl at this. Whatever comes, there is something amiss. And whether their station be high or humble, they are all known by the name of grumble. The weather is always too hot or cold. Summer and winter are like this cold. Nothing goes right with the folks you meet down on that gloomy, complaining street. I think you just you should please enjoy the word arrangement and the words being used by the poet. Very selected words and apt words for apt expression. Aptly, the arrangement also arranged. Okay, just enjoy and try to assimilate something for you. Just make the style of your own sometimes. Okay, some of the expressions are wonderful expressions. Next. They growl at the rain. They growl at the rain and they growl at the sun. Rain and sun, opposite things. Rain and sun, winter and summer like that. But they growl at the rain and they growl at the sun. In fact, their growling is never done. In fact, their growling is never done. What is the special meaning of done there? That done has got a special connotation there. Done means complete. In fact, their growling is never done, never complete, endless. And if everything pleased them, there isn't a doubt they would growl, that they would nothing to grumble about. They had, first one, they apostrophe D, they would growl. They would growl. That expansion is they would growl. That they apostrophe D, second they apostrophe D, they had nothing to grumble about. Okay, you have to be very careful about it. And next stanza, but the queerest thing is that no one of the same can be brought to acknowledge his family name, same and name. But never a grumbler will own that he is connected with it at all, you see. The worst thing, next stanza, the worst thing is that if anyone stays among them too long, he will learn their ways. The worst thing is that if anyone stays among them too long, he will learn their ways. And before he dreams of the terrible jumble, he is adopted into the family of grumble. He becomes another grumbler. Last but one stanza, and so it were wisest to keep our feet from wandering into complaining street, and never to growl whatever we do, lest we be mistaken for grumblers too. Next one, let us learn to walk with a smile and a song. That is the message of the song. Let us learn. So far, you knew about the grumblers were introduced by the poet in various situations with various behavior, but you ignore all those things in the foregone paragraphs, stanzas. Now come to the last stanza on the first line. Let us learn to walk with a smile and a song. That is smiling and song. Song represents happiness. Smile, okay? Walk with a smile on the face. Smile on the face, song in the heart. Okay? Let us learn to walk with a smile and a song. That is personality. That is the way to attract people. No matter if things do sometimes go wrong, no matter if things do sometimes go wrong, and then be our station high or humble, we will never belong to the family of grumble. I don't want to belong to the family of grumble. With that, the poet ends the poem. Okay, the time is up, I think. Now we'll meet again in the second session after 15 minutes break. Okay.